A man was very angry with his assistant, and meanwhile he was throwing the garbage at a woman who was standing by. She is surprised by what was happening, and meanwhile, the man was telling his employee that he was in a very important meeting and that he didn't want to be disturbed. The woman then asks what was going on there and why he was throwing that garbage at her. He then asks her why she was there, as that was the place where he put his garbage near his house, but the woman says that this was his house and that she didn't want him to stay there. He then tells his assistant that he would need a little more time to be able to resolve the situation and tells the woman to stop littering him. The woman then proceeded to throw the garbage at the man, saying that she didn't want him to stay there as this was his house, but the man didn't seem to care about that and continued to talk to his assistant. At that moment, the woman realizes what was happening and asks if he was really going to throw those clothes away, as they were very pretty. The man said that he didn't care what happened to those clothes, because they belonged to his ex-wife and that he didn't care about that. He then goes back to talking to his assistant, and meanwhile, the woman was saying that those clothes were very beautiful and that they were very expensive. She said that she was very excited about it, because those were really very good clothes. At this point, the man begins to think that maybe the woman could help him despite her appearance and the state she was in. She could be of help to him. He then hangs up the phone and asks the woman if she liked those clothes he had thrown away, but she asks the reason for that question, as she was not rich like him. The man says that he had asked that question because he had more clothes to throw away. This makes her very happy, and then she asks if he would really throw those clothes away as she would want him to give them to her. He then said that he didn't care about those clothes, and then the woman asks if he really had more clothes like the ones he didn't want anymore. He then says that he had a lot more clothes he could give to the woman, but that he would just need her to do him a favor. This makes her very furious, and she says that she would not help the man as all men were the same and always thought the same thing. He says it wasn't at all what she was thinking and that he just wanted her to pretend to be his girlfriend. She said she wouldn't accept the man's proposal, so he said he could change her mind. He takes a large sum out of his pocket and starts counting in front of the woman, and then he hands it to her. Seeing that it was really a large amount, the woman is very excited about it and says that she would listen to the man's proposal. She then asks the man what she would need to do, and then he tells her that she would just need to take a shower and take care of her appearance a little as she needed to do it. He tells her that they were going to need to meet with some important people, and that is why he needed her to do it. He said they were going to meet with his ex-wife and her friend. She then asks if they would need to kiss, but the man tells her that she didn't need to worry about that as he wouldn't try to kiss her. She then asks if he would give her something extra as she would need to eat something, and that she would not spend the money he had given her as she thought it would be too much work. He told her that she would be able to eat whatever she wanted and that she didn't have to worry about it. He then tells them to go to the man's house so she can take a shower, but that she didn't have to worry as she was going to use another bathroom she had in her house and that she would be more comfortable in that bathroom. She wonders if the man's house had a pool and if she could use it, but the man goes back to the phone to talk to his lawyer. She then wonders what she could wear, since she would have to help the man. She then goes to the man. Meanwhile, he was talking to his lawyer. He soon realizes that the woman was there, and she asks if that dress had looked good on her. The man begins to think about how beautiful the woman had looked in that dress, that he didn't imagine that was possible. She gets anxious about the man not saying anything and then asks him if he had liked her dress and says that if he hadn't liked the dress, she could put on another one, but he said it wasn't like that at all and that he was just very happy that she looked very pretty. She then asks what they would have to do for the man to win back his ex-wife, but he says that he didn't want to win her back and that he just wanted to show that he was a good man and that she had lost him forever. She then says that the man didn't seem to be doing very well with the end of his relationship, but the man says that he didn't care about it and tells her to stop asking about their relationship. She then apologizes to the man, but says that if she was going to have to pretend she was the man's girlfriend, she would need to know more about him. She said she would need to know more about him and his relationship. He says that she didn't seem to care about him, that she just wanted to know what had happened. The woman says that she really wanted to know what had happened, but that it would also be good for him as she thought he needed to vent. The man then says that the truth was that his girlfriend had hooked up with his best friend and that now he was very sad that this had happened. He says that she ended up taking everything he had and that he couldn't believe it had happened. The woman says that she was now his ex-girlfriend because she preferred to be with another man and that they were now ex-boyfriends. The man is sad about it, but thanks the woman for reminding him of it. She then asks him what happened after that, and he says that afterwards they still continued to work at the same company, but that things were not as they used to be. He then asks her if she'd like to know anything else, but she says she already knew the basics to pretend she was his girlfriend. He then says that his ex-girlfriend always said that he was a loser and that no one would want to be with him as he always thought about working and that he didn't pay attention to her. The woman says that this was not true as he was not a loser and that she knew that the right person for him would soon appear. He then says that he wanted to show the woman to his ex-girlfriend, so she could see that he wasn't a loser. The woman then says that now they were going to show the man's ex-wife that she was mistaken. They then make their way to the restaurant, but when they get there, the man's ex-girlfriend was already there with her boyfriend. He said he couldn't do that because he was too nervous, but she said she would be by the man's side and that he didn't have to worry. Meanwhile, the man's ex-girlfriend was telling his best friend that she loved him very much and that she had really enjoyed the restaurant he had taken her to. He says that he would always give the best that his girlfriend wanted, and then she says that she loved him very much and that she was glad she left her ex-boyfriend to be with him, as he was the love of her life. At this point, the woman and the man sit down at the table and then the woman says she wanted to have a drink and starts calling for an employee. The other man then tells the other woman that he had made a surprise for her and rented the lake she liked so much for them to stay at. At this moment, he realizes that the man was there and says that he was very happy that he was there. The other woman then tells the other man that she didn't know who the person was with the man, and then the other man asks the man who that person was. He asks if that was his new employee, but the other woman said that the man hadn't hired any employees and that she didn't know who that woman was. The man then tells his friend that he was very happy to see that he was together with his ex-wife there. The woman then says that the truth was that the man and she were dating. The other woman then says she was very surprised by this, but asks what she was doing with her dress. The woman then says that the dress was not hers, as she had bought it in another store. She tells the other woman to stop trying to tell her that she had stolen her dress. The other man then asks the man how he managed to find a girlfriend, since he worked all day and didn't have time to spend with his girlfriend. The other woman said the man's life was too boring. The man then says that all that happened was that he went to the restaurant to spend time with his girlfriend. The woman then says that what they were saying was no longer true, as the man was now a very different person and that he was very good to her, but the other woman said that she would soon see that it was not true. She says that the woman would find that the man never stopped working, but the man says that he was now a different person and that he had changed for the better. The woman then says that she was very happy and that she would never cheat with a man, but the other woman says that she had already said that this was fleeting and that she would soon find out the truth. The woman said that their relationship could be that way, but that the man was very attentive to her. The man says this was true, that he would do anything to be with his new girlfriend. The other woman then says that she was very happy that this happened and then asks them how long they had known each other. They then try to say a date, but each says a different date, which makes the other woman start laughing. The woman then says that they were going to go on a trip together where they would be out of touch with other people, and the man says that it will be very good. The other man then asks them where they are going to travel and the woman says the name of a city, but the man says she was wrong and says another city. The other woman then tells the woman that she didn't like having to say that to her, but that the man was lying to her and that they would never take that trip together. She says that the man was just using the woman to try to make her jealous and that she should go after a person who was on the same level as her. The man then says that she was right and that if she wanted to leave, she could, but the other woman says that she didn't want them to leave. She then says that the truth was that she wanted to know more about their relationship, as she already knew that they wanted to travel together and that they had only been dating for a short time, but that she wanted to know if they were going to get married, as the man did not want to marry her. The woman then says that this was the reason they were traveling, as they were going to end up getting married in a country far away. She is very surprised by this and then asks the man if they could talk to each other. The woman then asks why she wants to talk to the man alone, but the other woman says she didn't have to worry about that. The other man then asks his girlfriend to calm down, and then she and the man go somewhere else so they can talk. When they leave, the woman and the man's friend stand there, unsure of what they might talk about. The woman then starts calling a restaurant employee, but no one goes to them. At this point, the other man asks if they didn't already know each other, as she seemed to be someone familiar, but she says that she had never seen him before and that they didn't know each other. He then tells her that she was very familiar and says that she must have a twin sister, as she was very familiar to him. He said he thought he had seen her in front of his apartment building, where she said she lived in the garbage. The woman then tells him that he might know her from the videos she made for the internet. He then tells her that she seemed to be very familiar and that he couldn't find out where he knew her from, but she tells him that they didn't know each other and asks him to stop asking questions about it. She says she had a boyfriend, and then he says he just offer her a drink for her. She accepts the drink and then asks him if he had put anything in that drink, but he says no. At this point, a restaurant employee comes to him and asks what the woman would like to order, but she says that it was no longer necessary as the other man had already offered her the drink. He then told her that if she wanted, they could ask for something else, and she asks if he would pay for it. He said yes because he had invited her to drink, and so she accepted. She says that in that case, she would want some wine, and the clerk asks if she would like a whole bottle. The woman says yes, then hands her a bottle that was on the table. The other man is surprised by this, but soon the employee returns with the wine and the woman thanks her. Meanwhile, the other woman was telling the man that she was very suspicious of this because the man hadn't looked at her phone once. The man then says that he was just very happy with his new girlfriend, but the other woman says that she knew this was a lie and that she wanted to know why the man was lying to her. She says that the man didn't deserve to be happy because he was a person who only thought about work, but the man says that he didn't want to talk to her about it anymore, and so he leaves. Meanwhile, the woman and the employee were dancing, but soon the employee says she couldn't dance anymore. The woman then tells the employee that she really enjoyed dancing with her and then hands over the bottle of wine, telling her to recycle that bottle. At that moment, the man appears and asks what had happened to her, and she said that she had only had a little drink. The other woman then says that they had only been out for a short time, but that the woman had already had a lot of drinking. She then asks the man if he has ever seen the sober woman, but the woman tells her to stop talking about it, as she wouldn't control herself for long if she continued with it. At that point, another name says that he remembered where I met the woman from and says that the other woman had called the police on her as she was living on the street. Hearing this, the woman becomes very angry with the other woman, but the man stops her. The other woman then says that she now understood why they were together and says that the woman only wanted his money, but the man said that was a lie. The other woman says that he was really a loser and that he would only be with someone if he paid them to be with him. At this point, the other woman tells her boyfriend that she already wanted to leave, and then they get up to go. But before the other tells me to work is that the man was the one who would pay for the drinks. The woman then says that he had said he would pay for the drinks, but the man says that was not important. They then leave and sit in a square. The man says that he always went to that square to be able to think about life, and that day he was very sad about what had happened. The woman then tells him not to worry about what the other woman had said, as she was a terrible person, as she had hooked up with his best friend, and that he didn't need to worry about her. She then says that the man was a very good person and that he had a very nice job. She says he didn't have to worry about what the other woman was saying about him. He then says that the truth was that he thought he would never meet someone, but the woman said that he had promised her that they would eat something, but that she hadn't eaten anything yet. She then tells him that they should go to a restaurant so they can have something to eat and that he didn't have to worry because she would be the one to pay. She said she had received money from a madman so she could pretend she was his girlfriend. The man says that he would really enjoy having a bite to eat with her and then they leave.